Perception is one of my favourite stats in D&D because it lets you see stuff or hear stuff and just generally get a better view of things. But what if, and hear me out, there was a downside to it? That's exactly what this monster is about, and I'm very excited to share it with you all. My name is Jason, and this is a Dragon's Horde D&D where I share my homebrew stuff with you, and I'd like you to join me for what is probably the most unsettling monster I've made yet, although it's the second one, and also one inspired by a book my wife is reading. So, thank you, my wonderful wife. The Boghi, strange pronunciation, it's a Fey thing, everyone adjusts to it, is a tall and spindly creature. It almost looks as if it was a stretched out goblin. Horrendous, right? At the end of each of its arms is one massive scythe-like claw, which it uses to attack its prey, and its mouth is this cavernous maw of whirling teeth and terror. It skitters around on all fours normally. Not that most people can see it, but we'll get to that. And its head swivels almost like an upgraded owl, which means it can always be looking at you. Not that it needs to, because around its mouth are countless eyes. This is a full nightmare creature, and your players should be afraid of it. Drawing on both ancient and corrupted magic of the Feywild, this creature makes sure that nothing else can see it, unless its eyes are good enough. And this is important, because that's what it feeds on. There is good news here. If you can't see it, it won't hurt you, and you can't hurt it. If you can see it, you're in trouble. Because of this unique mixture of traits, it specifically seeks out targets with high perception, basically those who have good eyes, because that's what it feasts on. It gains energy from the things that they have seen and life force from that as well. Every time it consumes a pair of eyes from someone with a high enough perception, it has those eyes pop out around its mouth. So the more eyes a Boghi has, the stronger it is. Because most of the people who end up seeing this thing very quickly become its prey, the Boghi is known as something of a boogeyman, if you will, of the Feywild, with many creatures not believing it exists at all. The good news is, in this case, ignorance is most definitely bliss. Let's go over the stats quickly, shall we? It has an AC of 25. It has 73 hit points, so it's not that healthy, but it is very hard to hit, and I think that reflects the way that it moves and the way that it hunts quite well. It has a 40-foot climbing and walking speed, and it has above average stats pretty much across the board, with wisdom obviously being its strongest stat at 26. It's immune to fear, charmed, and prone because of the weird way it moves, and it has resistance to psychic damage because what does it have to be scared of? Along with that, it has true sight of 60 feet and a whopping 27 passive perception. The way that all of this translates in-game is that you can only see and interact with the Boghi if you have a passive perception of 20 or above. If you don't, you have to roll a perception check until you get above 20 and then you can see it. Again, if you can't see it, it can't hurt you, but you also can't hurt it. So it's a blessing and a curse depending on which of your teammates is being attacked. Along with that, it has 3 legendary resistances. They're boring, but in terms of attacks, the Boghi uses a claw and its mouth basically to attack. The claw does standard slashing damage and the mouth does some psychic damage on top of that, just for funsies. It has 3 legendary actions, with the most boring of those being Lash Out, which allows it to make one of its melee attacks within range, basically. Very simple stuff. It has a blinding stare, which means that players must succeed on a DC 20 wisdom check or become unable to see it, which means that they can't hurt it anymore. Along with that, they do take a chunk of damage because eyes, I guess. Along with that, it has an ability called All Eyes Open, in which it focuses attention very heavily on everything around it. And any creature attacking it will have disadvantage, and anything it attacks it will have advantage on, providing the creature fails the saving throw. The result of all of this is a creature which is fully nightmarish, along with being not a punishment for high perception, but an intriguing way to play around with it. If you are having one in your campaign and you wanted to use it as more of a long-term threat, you could absolutely have these stats go up and up and up and up as you went, with more damage, with higher HP or even higher AC if you wanted to represent it consuming more eyes. But the base version should be more than enough to keep players on their toes, especially if you decide to throw a couple of them at the group. I hope you enjoyed that, or it's caused you to reconsider your life choices. Either way, next time, which is in 2 weeks, I will be releasing my first subclass as part of the Dragon Week thing that Ginny D and Pointy Hat are doing this year. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it fills a spot which I think needs filling, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with all of you. In the meantime, however, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.